Well, hello again, and welcome back to the 8th installment of the final exam review series for intermediate algebra. This is Joe Brownlee, and let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so since this is the 8th installment, we are on question number 8. And question number 8, the directions say, solve the problem with two unknowns. Alrighty, number 8. Now, question number 8 is, as we can see, a word problem. And right away we know we're going to be setting up a system of equations because the directions tell us that we're going to be solving for two unknowns. And so this is very similar to question number 7, except not only are we going to use either substitution or elimination to solve this system, but we actually have to come up with the equations ourselves from this word problem. So let's go ahead and read the word problem and see if we can't figure out what those two equations for the system are going to be. Number 8. During the 1998-1999 Little League Series, the Tigers played 40 games. They won 12 more games than they lost. How many games did they win that season? Alright, so we know that we're going to be using variables. Just like in number 7, we have an x and y. But let's go ahead and get a little creative and use two different letters to represent our information. Well, they tell us that the Tigers played 40 games, and if you know anything about baseball, you know that you either win a game or you lose a game. There's no such thing as a tie in baseball. So let's go ahead and use W to represent our wins, and let's go ahead and use an L to represent our losses. And since there's no such thing as a tie, and they played 40 games total, that means, well, all of the games they won plus the number of games they lost is going to equal 40. And that makes sense, right? So this is going to be equation number 1 out of 2. Now to extrapolate the second equation, we're going to go to the second sentence, and it says they won 12 more games than they lost. Alright, well, that means that if they won 12 more games than they lost, then the number of games they lost plus 12 is going to equal the number of wins. And so this now becomes our second equation, and now we can use either elimination or substitution to solve for our unknowns. Well, why don't we go ahead and use substitution, because look here, we've already got an equation that's solved for W, so really all we have to do is now take this equation and plug it in for W, and we'll be on our way to solving for L. So let's go ahead and do that. So L plus 12 plus L equals 40. Let's go ahead and combine our like terms. When we combine L with L, we get 2L plus 12 equals 40. And to solve for L, we're going to subtract 12 from both sides. 2L equals 28. And then when I divide by 2, L equals 14. Alright, well now that I've solved for L, all I have to do to solve for W, meaning the number of wins, is plug it back in to my second equation. And when I do that, I get 14 plus 12 equals W, Well, 14 plus 12 is just 26. So 26 equals W. And now let's make sure that we answer the question that's being asked. And it says, how many games did they win that season? Well, we just found out. So we can say the Tigers won 26 games during the 1998-99 season. All right. So all we did here was we extrapolated two equations from the word problem, set them up, and solved using substitution here, but we could just as easily have used elimination. But this was really one that was made for substitution because when we wrote our second equation, it was already solved for a variable, and so it made it really easy just to plug it in, and the rest was just step by step like we did with number 7. All right, hopefully this was a nice review for you. I will see you all at question number 9. We're cruising right through these. So this is Joe Brownlee again. Thanks for watching.